This is Jamie. She is a Year 6 student at an Australian primary school. Jamie has strong interests in environmental sustainability and community health, often leading to discussions in this area. Jamie struggles with the inquiry-based teaching strategy used in her class. This approach often requires students to explore topics independently, but Jamie often feels lost and unsure of her abilities. Jamie loves the environment and often shares her thoughts on how to protect it. However, this passion sometimes leads to her being teased by her peers. This makes Jamie question her place in school and makes her wonder if she will ever fit in. Unfortunately, Jamie has also begun to experience challenges of early puberty. Her classmates tease her about her appearance, making her feel even more isolated.
Key challenges that Jamie faces is struggling with inquiry-based learning, feeling insecure about her changing body, facing bullying from classmates, and being passionate about environmental issues, which makes her stand out even more.
Let's begin with self-efficacy, the linchpin of Bandura's social cognitive theory. Self-efficacy is defined as belief in one's capabilities to organize and execute the courses of actions required to produce given attainments. Jamie's declining performance is not just a skill issue, it's a belief issue. As Goldberg 1999 writes, people's SE beliefs have a greater effect on their motivation, emotions, and actions than what is objectively true. Even if Jamie has the skills, they no longer believe they can succeed in social studies, especially without the teacher's direct guidance. Bandura identifies 4 sources of self-efficacy. 1 is mastery experiences, 2 vicarious learning, 3 verbal persuasion, and 4 emotional states. Jamie's efficacy has taken a hit across all 4 of these areas. They've lost recent mastery, are emotionally distressed by bullying, and likely lack role models or positive reinforcements in their current learning environment. A structure of sequenced learning led by teachers who demonstrates or explains a new concept to students who then practice it is what Reed 2020 defines as explicit teaching. In Jamie's instance, I think that using explicit learning models in the classrooms can help her build a solid foundation of knowledge and abilities while also offering critical criticisms and encouragement. For Jamie, we must rebuild these pathways, starting with structured success, peer modeling, explicit praise, and strategies for emotional regulation. Self-efficacy is important, and later on Katie will discuss strategies that will be used to help Jamie's self-efficacy. His motivation has also declined, especially as they struggle with a more independent inquiry-based learning model. This shift in pedagogy clashes with Jamie's need for structure and guidance, causing them to disengage from the subject of social studies. Motivation is defined as processes that instigate and sustain goal-directed activities. Initially, Jamie showed strong intrinsic motivation, particularly in areas like environmental sustainability and community health. They found meaning in the subject matter and believed they could excel. However, recent events, academic struggle, and peer ridicule have disrupted this motivational cycle. Bandura emphasizes that motivation isn't just driven by desire or interest, but by the belief that one can succeed. Goals can energize and direct motivational outcomes, especially when they are specific and proximal. Jamie's current tasks, being open-ended and lacking clear benchmarks, may no longer feel attainable or meaningful, thus draining their drive to participate. Moreover, the emotional consequences of bullying cannot be overlooked. Kavangana noted that bullying-related changes often carry social costs and that early maturing girls maintain a negative self-appraisal, heightening their risk of psychological distress and depression. Although this study focuses on girls, the pattern applies broadly. Students facing social rejection often withdraw emotionally from learning environments. What we're seeing in Jamie is a breakdown in motivational conditions. Their goals have lost clarity, their sense of competence has diminished, and their classroom environment no longer feels safe or validating. These are key components in Bandura's reciprocal determinism, where personal beliefs, behavior, and environment continuously influence one another. To re-engage Jamie, we need to restore balance. This might involve adjusting the learning task to provide scaffolded success, using peer collaboration to promote vicarious learning, and emphasize short-term achievable goals to reintroduce a sense of progress and control. Strategies will be utilized to boost the motivation of all students, specifically Jamie. Finally, bullying, a serious barrier to learning and mental health. In Jamie's case, their early physical development due to puberty has made them a target for teasing, particularly because of their appearance and passion for topics like environmental justice. According to Olivia, bullying has a negative impact on performance in mathematics and that social emotional skills can help students deal with bullying. Though this study focuses on math scores, the core findings applies more broadly. Bullying impairs cognitive focus, self-esteem, and classroom participation. Jamie's reluctance to contribute to class and declining engagement reflect this effect. The research also notes victims of bullying are more likely to develop psychosomatic and psychosocial problems, such as loneliness, anxiety, and depression. These emotional burdens likely explain Jamie's withdrawals and lack of enthusiasm. Moreover, the study concludes that anti-bullying programs should not take into account social emotional skills, reminding us that teaching resilience, empathy, and communication is as critical as academic content. Strategies will be employed to combat bullying on all levels. Jamie's case reminds us that bullying, motivation, and self-efficacy are not isolated factors. They're interconnected forces shaping every student's learning experience. As educators, our role isn't to only teach content, but it's to understand and nurture the psychological conditions for learning. Let's approach students like Jamie with empathy, strategic support, and a belief in their abilities to thrive, even when they don't yet believe in themselves. Thank you.
This slide focuses on how we can support Jamie's self-efficacy using vicarious learning. Since experiencing bullying, Jamie's confidence in class has really dropped. She's not participating much and she's afraid of being judged. So instead of putting pressure on her to perform, I've suggested we pair her with helpful peers and use examples of student success that she can observe first. According to Bandura, seeing others succeed helps students believe they can too. It allows Jamie to ease back into learning without added stress and reminds her that she is capable. Noah's literature review ties into this really well. He referenced Goldberg, who explained that self-efficacy isn't just shaped by past success. It also comes from things like seeing others succeed, encouragement, and emotional states like anxiety. All of these are relevant to Jamie. He also included Reid's point that explicit teaching builds a strong foundation. And I think that links to the reflection questions and effort-based feedback that I've included here in my slides, which help Jamie process what she's doing and feel supported along the way. The goal is to help Jamie experience small steps of success with encouragement along the way. Over time, this helps Jamie feel more confident in her abilities, more engaged in class, and more willing to participate again. This slide looks at how we can help reignite Jamie's motivation. She used to be super engaged in social studies, especially when the topics linked to things she cared deeply about, like helping the community or protecting the environment. But since the bullying started, she's become withdrawn, less confident, and far less involved in her learning. To help her reconnect, I focused on 4 key strategies. First, letting her choose topics she's passionate about, giving her a voice and a sense of control in her learning. And second, giving her a small group role so she feels like she belongs again and knows she's valued by her peers. Third, keeping a clear classroom structure while also allowing flexibility so she feels safe but not boxed in. And finally, using effort-focused feedback to remind her that her progress matters, even when it's just a small step forward. In the literature review, Noah explained that motivation comes from both internal drive and the learning environment. He also highlighted how students are more likely to stay engaged when they have clear and achievable goals. That's exactly what these strategies aim to do: help Jamie feel safe, capable, and supported so she can slowly find her spark for learning again. This slide focuses on how we can respond to the bullying that Jamie is facing. She's been teased for both her early physical development and her strong views. This has left her feeling excluded and unsure of herself. As a result, she's emotionally withdrawn and not participating in class. To support her, I've used social and emotional learning as the key strategy. Social and emotional learning helps rebuild Jamie's confidence while also teaching the rest of the class how to treat each other with empathy and respect. The aim is to make the classroom safer and more inclusive so that Jamie feels like she belongs again. Noah's literature review backs this up well. He mentions that victims of bullying are more likely to develop mental health issues like loneliness, anxiety, and depression. He also referenced Olivia, who explained that social-emotional skills can help students deal with bullying more effectively. That's exactly what this approach targets. We're not just stopping the behavior, we're shifting the emotional culture of the classroom. In practice, this means running mini lessons on kindness and inclusivity, using restorative talks to address teasing, and giving Jamie small group roles to help her feel supported. Over time, as students grow in empathy and respect, Jamie starts to feel more confident, reconnects with her peers, and returns to learning.
Propose pedagogical intervention to support Jamie's confidence and well-being. In this section, I'll explore a series of targeted pedagogical interventions that can help Jamie regain her confidence in social studies and foster a strong sense of belonging within her school community. Later, we'll take a closer look at how these strategies can be applied to Jamie's specific situation and how they positively influence her learning experience and her overall well-being. The first strategy involves explicit teaching methods with a focus on goal setting. This structured approach allows teachers to clearly explain and demonstrate new concepts, providing a solid foundation for the students to build upon. Once students understand the basics, they're encouraged to expand on their knowledge and develop skills aligned with their individual learning goals. These goals act as checkpoints, giving students a sense of direction, boosting confidence, and increasing motivation. For Jamie, setting achievable goals and receiving ongoing feedback will not only support her academic progress, but will help restore her sense of purpose and self-efficacy in the classroom. The second intervention centers on the power of modeling and collaboration. These strategies are essential for creating an engaging, supportive learning environment. When teachers model tasks by thinking aloud and breaking down the steps, it helps students grasp complex content more easily. In Jamie's case, her teacher might walk the class through a social studies question, encouraging a collaborative brainstorming session where every student contributes. This collective effort creates a safe space for Jamie to share her ideas, feel heard, and learn from her peers. Over time, repeated opportunities for guided collaboration and constructive feedback can significantly boost Jamie's confidence and her belief in her own abilities. Outside of the classroom, collaboration can extend to parents, staff, and the wider school community. Modeling respectful, inclusive interactions such as positive greeting, kind language, and professional communication can help reinforce social expectations and build a nurturing environment for all students. The third strategy involves incorporating well-being education into the curriculum, particularly through PDHP. Topics such as puberty, mental health, and emotional well-being can be integrated into lessons to give students like Jamie the tools to better understand themselves and those around them. Creating a safe and inclusive environment allows Jamie to explore these personal and social topics without fear of judgment. Additionally, the school can support these initiatives by offering well-being workshops, routine student check-ins, and guest speakers focused on mental health. These initiatives promote empathy, reduce stigma, and equip students with strategies to manage emotional challenge. Importantly, educating all students on social and emotional well-being encourages greater understanding among peers, which in return helps Jamie feel more accepted during a time of change. Let's now explore how these strategies can be put into practice in Jamie's learning environment. Modeling and collaboration in action. Jamie's teacher can support her and her classmates by providing clear examples of what is expected in the learning assignment and modeling how to approach questions. For instance, a challenging social studies question could be broken down as a class activity, with students contributing ideas in a supportive, collaborative setting. This approach not only helps Jamie feel comfortable participating, but also normalizes shared learning experiences. By using techniques this often, and offering constructive feedback along the way, Jamie will begin to feel more confident and capable. Beyond the classroom, positive social modelling from adults and peers reinforces inclusive behaviour and nurtures a strong school environment. Embedding well-being into the curriculum. Well-being education can be implemented through PDHP classes that cover topics such as mental health, self-awareness, and social changes. These lessons offer Jamie a space to learn about herself and her peers in a meaningful way. The school could also host well-being focused activities such as student check-ins, workshops, and presentations from mental health professionals that encourage open dialogue and build emotional resilience. These proactive strategies
allow for early identification and support of any challenges Jamie may be facing, helping her feel more seen and understood by both staff and peers. Using goal setting as a guide to help Jamie's progress. Teachers can work with Jamie to establish clear, achievable goals and provide regular feedback that supports her development. Using tools like scaffolded question and anchor charts, Jamie can gradually gain the confidence to attempt these tasks independently, while still knowing that support is available when she needs it. This approach not only helps Jamie academically, but also supports her socially by encouraging interaction with both teachers and peers. With each goal she reaches, Jamie strengthens her sense of achievement and builds motivation for future learning. These proposed strategies are designed to support not only Jamie but her peers as well, while staying mindful of Jamie's unique needs. By combining explicit teaching, collaborative learning, and well-being-centered education, we can help create a nurturing and empowering environment that fosters academic success, social confidence, and emotional well-being.
Educators, we have a responsibility to adapt our teaching to meet both the academic and emotional needs for our students, and to work in partnership with their families and colleagues to ensure those adaptations are effective and sensitive. When Jamie's parents raised concerns about their child's disengagement in social studies, a subject they were once highly involved in, it highlighted the importance of clear, ongoing communication between school and home. Jamie's situation revealed multiple factors: a loss of confidence with inquiry-based learning, deep personal interest in sustainability, and growing social changes tied to early puberty and peer exclusion. In my response, my interventions involve three key strategies. First, I adjust my teaching method. While inquiry-based learning is valuable, it didn't suit Jamie's current need for structure. So I introduced scaffolded, teacher-guided tasks centered on environmental sustainability, aligning with Jamie's interests while restoring their sense of clarity and competence. Second, I introduced a peer support system by carefully pairing Jamie with trusted classmates who share similar interests. This buddy arrangement provides academic encouragement and emotional safety, helping Jamie feel more accepted and less isolated during group activities. This aligns with Standard 4.1, which promotes inclusive and supportive learning environments. Third, and most importantly, I prioritize collaboration with Jamie's parents, in line with Standard 3.7 and Standard 7.3 of the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers. I engage them in respectful, confidential discussions to co-develop strategies. We agree on consistent communication, shared language to use at home and school, and steps to monitor Jamie's well-being. When designing this intervention, an email will be sent to parents, caregivers, and colleagues stating, in our Year 6 Social Studies class this semester, we'll be using a more explicit teaching approach as we work through the content. This intervention has been introduced to support the learning of all students and will regularly be assessed to ensure it is improving their learning skills and outcomes. This email, for example, will also include a document outlining the lesson plans, detailing how topics will be taught to students along with examples. Jamie's parents will receive personalized updates on her progress, and both Jamie and her parents will be encouraged to provide feedback through a survey or by arranging a one-on-one meeting with her teachers. These strategies together create the conditions for a better outcome. With clearer instructional support, Jamie is more likely to re-engage with the content and experience academic success. Collaborating with parents strengthens trust and ensures consistent messages between schools and home. And by involving a supportive peer, Jamie can rebuild confidence, feel a stronger sense of belonging, and participate more actively in class discussions. Ultimately, these interventions are not just about improving grades, they're about creating a safe, responsive, and empowering environment that allows Jamie to thrive socially, emotionally, and academically. The next slide will present a visual representation of how the third collaborative strategy will be employed.
This is a visual demonstration on how as teachers we would collaboratively approach Jamie's situation in a confidential, professional and ethical way that abides by Australian Teaching Standards 3.7 and 7.3. Firstly, in a meeting with Jamie's parents, we will discuss the strategies we have put in place to help support Jamie with her learning needs, as well as how to navigate the social challenges she is currently facing. We can support Jamie by having her parents report back to her teacher regularly with update on Jamie's well-being at home, have regular and open communication between Jamie's teacher and her parents about her process, regular well-being check-ins with Jamie to see how she is coping with the new teaching strategy, as well as encouraging her to attend the school-based well-being events.
Another collaborative approach is to send a confidential email to all the parents and guardians of Year 6 students, informing them of the change in routine and allowing an open line of communication so they are able to provide feedback. To parents and guardians of Year 6, in our Year 6 Social Studies class this semester, we will be using a more explicit teaching approach as we work through the content. This intervention has been introduced to support the learning of all students and will be regularly assessed to ensure it is improving their learning skills and outcomes. In the following weeks, we will also be exploring puberty as a part of our PDHPE syllabus. We understand this may be a sensitive topic, so we ask for your cooperation in guiding students to approach this subject with respect and maturity. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. Sincerely, the Year 6 teachers.